Good evening and Kate Milafalcha to the Late Late Show with me, Irish Tommy. Thanks for joining. Exciting times. Usual suspects already in the house. Evening, mate. How are you keeping? Paul Flowers in with us already. Ireland's indeed. And Gads enjoying the thumbnail. Do you know what? I didn't actually. There we go. There you go. I love that photo. What a moment that was. Absolutely brilliant. The limbs, unbelievable. I won't lie. I wasn't sure. Wasn't sure Pabs was going to finish that. If I'm honest, he's not always the best finisher, but fair play to him. He took it really well, and just what a night, just unbelievable. And obviously we'll get into the game itself in a while. Leonardo, how are you, mate? Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Hammers Mikey saying, "Come on, you Irons." Roberta, how are you? Very good, mate. Very good. I think we all are, aren't we, this evening? Just after what happened last season in the semi-final, obviously, real disappointment, and it wasn't just that we were definitely beaten by the better side. That sending off from Cresswell kind of left a kind of feeling of what if, had he not gotten sent off, might we have turned it around and made the final against Rangers? I mean, what an occasion that would have been. Europa League final against Rangers. It would have been, newspapers would have been doing all the Battle of Britain stuff. But you were left wondering after that game what might have been had Cresswell not gotten sent off. We might have turned it around. We God knows we'd played well enough that season, and particularly in Europe, and maybe we would have made the final, and maybe we'd have beat Rangers in the final. Could be in Champions League this season. Can you imagine if we'd have been in a Champions League group where we were playing this season? But still, this was exactly what we needed. Especially if we win it, we win the final. Like, I'll probably never really think about that Frankfurt game ever again. It won't matter because we'll have made amends, and we already have, really, by getting to the final. It's amazing for West Ham to be in a European final. It really is. And hi, Shania. Shania's coming for cuddles. Hello. I'm on live, Shania. This is not good timing. But where's Kenny? Go tell Kenny to come in. He's still outside. It's getting dark. But apologies for the interruption, guys. But yeah, last night was amazing, and I'll be honest. I have to say something about last night because you all know already. Those of you who watch this show, you know my feelings on Moyes and our style of play. The way this season has gone. I've been Moyes out for some time now, and I'll be honest, I still am. I still want him to be replaced in the summer. And I didn't enjoy the game particularly last night, apart from the nerves, because the game remained 0-0 into injury time. One goal from them, and it's all square and aggregate, and then you're thinking, if it goes to pens, I can't handle something like that. My heart's just not going to be able for that, and so it was nervy to begin with, and then the style of play is just not something I'm into whatsoever. I know people say, "Look, it worked. We won both legs," and fair enough. I just don't like it. I just thought again last night it was just very, very defensive. I think we had about 35% possession. And I know possession isn't everything, but it's hard for me to enjoy the games really when we're playing like that. I just find it negative and unnecessarily so. I can understand it in certain circumstances. If we're playing like a top side, then I understand that we have to kind of play it that way. But I don't think we had to play it that way against Alkmaar. We saw last night. I think they're quite a limited team. They passed the ball around nicely enough, but they're not a particularly dangerous side. I think we've got better players than them all over the pitch, and I just in both legs, I would have liked to have seen us stamp some more authority on the game. I think we were capable of doing that. But all of that said, I'm going to give it a rest for now because ultimately all I care about is winning this competition. And even if we have to do it this way, even if we have to do it sitting back, defending stoically and trying to play on the counter, look, ultimately, if it gets us the trophy, if Declan is lifting that trophy in Prague, then it'll have been an incredibly successful campaign, and we can't have any complaints because ultimately that's what it's all about. It's about winning the trophy. So I'm going to park it. For now. You all know how I feel about Moyes. I'm just not going to get into it. I don't want to be negative because I just want this too much. And I'll be honest, on Twitter last night after the game, I was quite negative because I just philosophically, I just differ from David Moyes so much in how I like to play the game, and how I like the game to be played, how I like to see it played. So yeah, but ultimately, look, I'm absolutely buzzing that we're in the final. I really am. Does it really matter how we got there? Ultimately, I guess not. The important thing is that we are there. And if we can go on and win it, if we do it playing like that, then so be it. It's a means to an end. If it works, it works. I don't think it's the only way we can do it. I don't think that was the only way we could beat Alkmaar in both legs, but we have beaten them in both legs, and that's all that matters to me now. I'm just going to park it. I'm just going to focus now on the final. We know how Moyes is going to play in that final. Fiorentina are a better team than Alkmaar. I would say considerably better than Alkmaar. And we'll see if those tactics will work against them. I think they'll be much better able to create opportunities than Alkmaar were. But maybe we won't play that way. Maybe Moyes will mix it up in the final. Maybe he'll feel like, we'll find it difficult to win against Fiorentina playing like that. Who knows? We'll wait and see. But ultimately, at this point, I don't care what the tactics are or how we set up against Fiorentina. The important thing to me is that we win that game by hook or by crook. However we do it, we just got to do it. As the thumbnail says, we're 90 minutes away from glory. And, when we won the FA Cup in 1980, I mean, I was still 4 years old. I was a couple of months away from turning 5. So I wasn't even interested in football at that time. Didn't know anything about it, didn't watch any football. I was too young. So I have zero recollection of that game. Absolutely zero. I wasn't a West Ham fan at the time. Like the sport in West Ham isn't a generational thing for me. It's not a family thing. I'm the first, basically, in my family to be a West Ham fan. My son is also now West Ham. So I'm the one who started the ball rolling in my family. So my son's carrying it on now. And the only thing that counts now is winning that trophy. Excuse me. Going to pop back into the comment section here because I do like to get you guys involved. Hammers Mikey says Pebs needs to start our Romanian league fixtures getting game time. Absolutely ruined has been by Moyes. Play him central again, Dave, for God's sake. Cult hero status, beckoning for Pablo. Yeah. You know what it's like? It's like certain players are remembered always for certain moments. Like Ricardo Vazte will forever be remembered for that goal against Blackpool in the playoff final. I mean, that's Ricardo Vazte. Whenever you hear the name, that's what you think of. You still see footage of that goal being posted on Twitter by fans. Pablo's in that club now. Pablo Fornals is in that club. Another one for me, actually, I don't know, it doesn't really get mentioned, but but probably one of the times I went most crazy, like jumping around screaming as a West Ham fan, was the FA Cup semi-final against Middlesbrough in 2006, when Marlon Harewood absolutely roofed a shot to put us 1-0 up. A goal that came kind of relatively late in the second half. There was a bit of time left, but it was at a crucial time in the game. It just felt like the goal that was going to send us to Wembley, and it did. And I remember that goal as well. Whenever anyone mentions Marlon Harewood to me, or wherever I see him, obviously he was at the game last night with Anton Ferdinand. That's what I think of. I think of his goal at Villa Park in the semi-final against Borough in 06. That's what I think of when I think of Harewood. And whenever we talk about Pablo Fornals now, I think we'll all just say, "Oh, that goal in Amsterdam against Alkmaar." No, it wasn't the goal that sent us to the final. We were already a goal up on aggregate, but it was the goal that sealed it. It was the goal that meant we are going to the final. It was the final nail in Alkmaar's coffin, right at the death. The insurance goal to make sure that nothing that after that point could go wrong. They were never scoring 2 goals. They probably weren't scoring 1 realistically, but I'm delighted for Pablo too. I have to say, I love Pablo. I always have. I don't just love him because of the goal last night. I've always loved Pablo. Just a brilliant footballer, I think. Anyway, and what a character, and consummate professional. And he's had I think he's found it tough this season, like mentally very, very tough. He hasn't been in the team. He hasn't gotten many chances to play. We saw when he scored, the kind of scorpion kick, how much it meant to him. And that last night, I mean, I'm absolutely chuffed for Pablo. If anyone was going to score a goal last night like that, I would have wanted it to be Pablo. What a player, what a bloke. Absolutely loves the club. You remember last season, West Ham a method, everywhere they go. He's a brilliant guy, Pablo. So happy for him. Wouldn't it be amazing if he went and did the same in the final and won it for us? If he come off the bench and won it for us, that would be unbelievable. But yeah, I'm delighted for him. I love Pablo. But yeah, I think we're going to get to in a while. I'm going to talk about the 2 remaining Premier League fixtures and how we should approach these games. What's the right way to go about it? So that'll be interesting. What else have we got? Oh, Revelator Ralph, you want to jump on? 1 second, mate. What I'll do is I will grab the link and I will paste it. And okay, I've just put it in the live chat. So listen, if any of you want to jump on, you don't have to stay long. You can literally jump on for a couple of minutes. Let me know how you're feeling about last night, what you thought of the game. Still, yeah, I think we all are. Nosy, massive, not jokes on the stairs. That was brilliant. What a bunch of scumbags, though. To attack the players' families. They got kids in there. Absolute scumbags. And yeah, for him to be at the top of the stairs, just knocking them back down the stairs, like protecting the people behind it, it was unbelievable. Not sure why there wasn't anybody else in there. He could have maybe done. No, he probably didn't need the help, as it turned out. But yeah, if I'd have been in there, I'd have stormed in as well. It's a bit of fun as well, isn't it? But yeah, what a bloke. Yeah, absolute legend, the bloke, and hasn't lost it, has he? Hasn't lost it whatsoever. And it was a brutal watch football. Yeah, it wasn't good to watch. It wasn't good to watch. Alfie, how you doing, mate?
Hey! How we doing?
Go on, you Warrens.
I am still celebrating. 24 hours on, I'm still fucking celebrating. It's part of my French. Oh, I tell you what, this has been an absolute dream. Absolute dream. I still cannot believe it. I still cannot believe it. That we've
Yeah,
done it.
and the
I
thing is, I
cannot
mean,
believe it.
especially as it wasn't comfortable, was it, Alf? I mean, it was, that game was in the balance right up until Pablo scored an injury time.
No, I said after the first leg at our place, I said actually, because a lot of fans were coming out on the old socials. I said, "Oh, Alkmaar, they're rubbish. They're no good." And I was like, going, "Hold on a minute. They were playing some decent football, but I just thought they weren't really going for it." And I always thought, watch out, because when we go, to their stadium, I think they're gonna give us a tough game, and that's exactly what I thought. They were playing some decent football, and we weren't looking good for a long period of time. And it was, look, at the end of the day, we came through it. We got a late goal, and it was a great result, of course. But for the long periods of that game, I was thinking, bloody hell. Funny enough, I've got to say this. I was actually at the airport at Gatwick, 6 o'clock. Well, actually, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was I was meeting up with a load of West Ham fans who were going up to Amsterdam for the early flight. And they all thought I was going to the flight to go to Amsterdam as well. And I was like, no, I'm off to Naples. I'm off to Italy. I'm going to hang out with a few Lazio fans and Napoli fans, for this. So basically, I've been hanging out with a load of bloody ultras out here in Bandit country. Don't ask me why, but I tell you what, it's been absolutely funny. Absolutely funny. Everybody's been saying in the pub here, say, look, watch out, he's a West Ham fan over there. Oh dear, it's been so funny, I tell you. Absolute scenes, absolute scenes.
Yeah, and it's it kind of makes up for last season as well, doesn't it, Alfie? It's obviously the disappointment with Crest getting sent off out in the away leg out in Frankfurt, and it was just incredibly disappointing because we desperately want a trophy and have done for a long time, and this kind of puts that one to bed, doesn't it? We're in the final now and 90 minutes away from silverware.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I mean, I know lots of people talk about, as soon as the game ended, I was on to my brother, and he's a Man United fan, by the way, and he's I know, and he's basically, oh yeah, at least you made it to the Mickey Mouse, final. And I thought, I don't care, I'll take it. I don't care. Who cares if it's what people think about it? It's basically, back in the day, there was the European Cup final, there was the UEFA Cup final, and there was the Cup Winners' Cup final. Okay, yeah. So essentially, that's what they've come back to. Does he
not ask him about, like, back then? Cup Winners' Cup was the third tier trophy in Europe. Ask him about when Mark Hughes scored the winner against Barcelona. I bet he was jumping around.
Yeah, but they all forget about that, don't they? They all forget about that. So that's the thing. So I had to stick it in a little bit, you know what I mean? But look, I remember, I was listening to you earlier, back in, and I was 10 when we won the FA Cup. And I barely remember the 75 Cup final. And in all fairness, I don't remember the 76 Cup Winners' Cup final against Anderlecht. And but for me, I got really emotional last night. That it just dawned on me. 47 years since we've been in a European Cup final, and I'm just absolutely beside myself. Absolutely beside. I know all West Ham fans are. I know we are, but it's just for for those of us who've just been wanting it and longing for some kind of. Do you know what? I will say this one thing, and I've been celebrating tonight, and I'm still celebrating. I've been celebrating for ever since last night. But so pardon if I'm slurring my words a little bit. But I will say this: I don't care if we don't win it. I want to win it, but we've got to a final. We've got to a European final, and that says so much for this team. So much for this team in Europe this season. Okay, Premier League, we've been a disaster. There's no doubt. But in Europe, we've been absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And last night, we were just fantastic, I've got to say. Because it was crap. It was a crap performance, but it was a battling performance. Backs against the wall. We defended quite well. We could have done a bit better on the counters. We had a couple of efforts. But I'll tell you what, it's the scenes afterwards. The scenes after in the dressing room. And I was watching it again today, and Moisey, fucking hell. Oh, pardon my French again. But Moisey dancing in the dressing room, with all the lads and they're singing. And it's just like, these are scenes that you just don't see these days, that, your manager is dancing away and, having beer sprayed all over him. And then all the fans, there's, singing to Bowen as well. And it's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I absolutely loved it.
Where'd you watch it, mate?
As I say, I'm still buzzing for it now. Still buzzing for it.
So where were you watching it? Were there any other West Ham fans about? Or?
No. So I'm actually in Italy right now. I'm basically in Bandit country. I'm right in the deepest south of Naples, and I met with a couple of fellas, and then I was in a bar last night. This is I'm way south of Naples now, so I'm out of that Bandit country, in more Bandit country, and I was in this bar last night, and I had my phone, and I was watching it, and they're all watching the Roma game and the Juventus game, fair enough, because obviously the Italian contingent there. And there was me, just sat in the corner, going, "You are my son! You are my son!" And they would go, "What the fuck is that?" And the barman, who knew me, funny enough, from last time I was there, he was basically saying, No, don't worry, he's West Ham. He was West Ham. And they were like, "Oh, okay." So it was a funny thing that, all of a sudden there's me in a corner giving it some, and then no, don't worry about him. He's just a lone West Ham fan in the middle of nowhere. It's just comical, basically. But there we go.
Yeah, and
so I'm still here. I'm still in southern Italy. I was very tempted at the airport yesterday morning to think, "Oh, sod it, I'm just going to get on the plane to Amsterdam instead." But I'd made arrangements to be here, and this is where I am.
yeah, I'll tell you what, it was great to see, with the end of the game there where Declan Rice is going up to the away fans, singing Bubbles, and West Ham are massive and stuff. And you could see how much it meant to him. I think he really feels the weight of history on his shoulders. He knows what it would mean to this club and to his kind of legacy at West Ham as a captain to lift the trophy for this club. He understands how huge it is.
I tell you what, maybe I'm alone in this feeling right now, but in my mind, in my heart, I know Rice is going. I know Rice is going to Arsenal or wherever he's freaking going. I don't, But at the same time, because we've had such a crap season in the league, he's thinking, yeah, it's time to go. But because we made it to a cup final, he's thinking, should I go? Should I go? Should I stay or should I go? And I've always thought that he's going to go, but at the same time, I think this is like his swan song. He's thinking, you know what? If I can just go out and get the club a cup, and he has my blessing to go anyway. in all fairness, he has my blessing. But to go out with a cup, to go out with winning something as a captain, as a player, that would just be amazing. And also, this is for Moisey, whatever happens next season, whether we keep him or not, and lots of fans have different views on that, I'm sure. At the same time, you just think of Jose Mourinho, right? He went to Roma. First season, Jose Mourinho won the Conference League. That's what we're in. This is the final. We're in the same league that he won, right? Now, next season, because they won that, they qualified for Europa League. Guess what? He's in the Europa League final as well. And I wouldn't put it past him to win the Europa League against Sevilla and actually go into the Champions League and to win that as well. So if I could only dream that Moisey could win the Conference League next season, win the Europa League, and the season after win the Champions League, I don't think anybody's ever done it before. I don't think anybody's done the triple in that way, and that would just be unbelievable. Unbelievable. But there we go. I'm a dreamer. What can I say? What can I say?
It's not really doable.
I'm still celebrating it. I'm still celebrating. I say I've backed away from some of the Napoli ultras around here, and I've got to say everybody's been quite very complimentary for us West Ham fans. Well, it was lucky that we weren't in Holland last night or around Alkmaar, because some of the scenes last night, I've got to say, I've only been catching up with it today, and I'm sure you've already covered it. I don't want to bore people with it, but listen, let me just say something, right? If you are an ultra, or if you're a part of any firm, whatever, as far as I'm concerned, if you want to do that kind of stuff, you stick with your own. You stick with other firms, right? You go against other firms, and that's the way it is. When you start going against normal people, everyday people, or families, or that kind of stuff, then as far as I'm concerned, you've got no comeback on that. And them lot, they came hard. There's about 200-300 of them came hard at the West Ham sort of family friends. These not even West Ham fans, contingent. This is not even the West Ham fan base. This is the friends and the families of the players. And you target them. And also, whoever it is, UEFA, the security services, he knew there might have been a bit of afters at the London Stadium the week before. He said, hold on a minute, how did that situation even occur? That you go after, you allow ultras from another fan base to go and attack, not even other fans, but just attack their friends and family of the players. That's just absolutely outrageous. And those fellas, I've got to say, and I'm sure it's been said a million times before, but those fellas who were stood there, defending the high ground. Let's put it that way. Just defending the high ground. Well, in all fairness, most of us would be doing exactly the same thing. We would just hold on a minute. This is not just some random kids just trying to come at a bunch of other West Ham fans. This is a random bunch of feral kids just coming against, family people as well. And that's just a no-no. You just don't do that. It's as simple as that. So, the few lads there that were holding their own against those ultras, they are definitely heroes. But that's just a big thing for UEFA to say, well, hold on a minute. Frankfurt were doing it last season. They're also doing it this season against Napoli fans. I've just been speaking to a few Napoli fans down here as well about Frankfurt. I was just like, well, hold on a minute. You want to do this? You want to, you want to police the European game. Well, first of all, you want to get hold of these, ultras and say, hold on. If you're going to go for it, take it outside the stadium for a start. Take it away from, unsuspecting people. And also, if you're going to have it out with people, have it out with, firms. Don't have it out with just normal fans who basically just want to go and watch a game. Simple as that. And want to celebrate. West Ham getting to a final for the first time in 47 years. I mean, Anyway, I've rambled on. Carry on.
Yeah, it was disgraceful, and UEFA have got to do something about it. Thankfully, those Alkmaar ultras are a joke, and no real damage was done. But when you've got players in a situation after a game where they just want to celebrate reaching the European final, and they've got
exactly
their own families, and it's disgraceful, and hopefully UEFA will come down hard on Alkmaar for that, because they've got to set an example that we just can't allow that kind of stuff. But we'll see what happens. UEFA generally have been toothless on this stuff. They were toothless about what happened with the Frankfurt fans in our away leg last season. UEFA basically did nothing, so they'll probably do nothing again. But we'll wait and see what happens. But listen, Alf,
where were the police? Where were the police? Where were the stewards? The stewards were doing fuck all. Where were the police? Where the hell was the security on this to stop this happening in the first place? And also, West Ham are allowed to celebrate. The fact that the players and the coaching staff are allowed to celebrate over a monumental thing that happened, for us. And fine. You got your firms from all different countries, all different clubs. I get it. Of course we do. We all get it. We all understand. What happens. Again. But there is, for me, there is a bit of an unwritten rule. So okay, it's a firm against a firm. Don't start having a go at just people who are not involved in that. Don't start having a go at people, especially, players, fans, family and stuff like that. Because that's just so out of order. And hopefully, UEFA, and the thing is the way you're saying that UEFA didn't really act against Frankfurt last season. And you've got to hope that they bloody well, act against Alkmaar this season. Because, and the problem is, it's not a club problem. That's the problem, isn't it? It's not the clubs that are at fault here. It's the ultras who are causing the problem at the wrong time, and it's the security and the marshalling or whatever it is. The stewards they were just totally inept to be able to deal with anything like that. That's the problem.
Yeah, they're going to have to get a handle on it. But listen, Alf, I've got another guest coming on, so I'm going to let you go, mate. But listen, really appreciate you jumping on and giving your opinions, and enjoy the rest of your night, and stay safe over there. Keep your head down.
I will. Well, I'm going back into the mix here, so I'll see you again.
Cheers, Alf. Appreciate it, mate. Take care. Come on, you Orange.
Happy Hammers.
Right, that was Alf there. Cheers for jumping on, Alf. Got another special guest now. You all know who he is. My old mate James. How are you doing, mate? Sorry for keeping you hanging on there for a while.
That's right, mate. No worries.
Alf's in rare form out there in Napoli tonight, so he's
enjoy himself, mate. I see.
Yeah, why not? Good for him. He's obviously. I think we're all in good form.
Yeah.
Obviously, only one thing to talk about, James. Through to the Conference League final, 90 minutes away from glory. Great night for West Ham.
Oh, mate. I was proud, mate. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I look at West Ham, especially last night, how the fans come together. the players come together and the management staff and everyone just come together and West Ham United. When West Ham are united, they're a fucking force. As simple as that. And listen, it hasn't been a good season, but if we can end it on a unbelievable note by winning a trophy, be our first trophy that we've won in 43 years. For me, it will top off a season where we've had a lot of ups and downs. A lot of people have said a lot of things, and we can make history, mate. So I'm very, very proud of this club. So I will say that.
Yeah, and it's wonderful just to have a final to look forward to. I mean, obviously, look, it's still 3 weeks away, and the semi-final was only last night, so that's still fresh in the memory. That's still what we're all talking about, what we're still buzzing off. But as the final approaches, I think the excitement is going to ramp up, and it's going to feel like a long 3 weeks, waiting for the final, because ultimately, we've got 2 Premier League games left to play, but do we even care? I don't give a shit now. We're not going to get relegated. So Leeds on Sunday, I haven't even thought about it, mate, to be honest.
No, nor have I really. Obviously, like when you've got to do the shows and everything, you've still got to think about the games. But I'm with you, really. I really couldn't care less over the next 2 games. Like the only thing I do care about at present is no injuries. I think that's a major concern. Like no injuries and no one picking up these stupid injuries where we literally don't need to. Do you know what I mean? I think this is time for Moyes to massively rotate his squad. I think it gives Mbama a chance to unleash him against 2 good sides. Not 2 good sides, but 2 sides in the Premier League. And you know what? Whatever happens on the 7th, we're going to be emotional one way or the other. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think with these next 2 games, actually, I think on Sunday we're going to have to rotate because the players put in a massive physical and mental effort for that game last night, and obviously then travelling back, not a long distance by any means, but still it's travelling, so it'll take it out of them. So certainly, I think for the Leeds game we can rotate. I wouldn't do what we did against Brentford. I wouldn't rest everybody. I'll still give some players a half or something, But for me, I think Areola has to play in both games because he's going to play in the Conference League final. Areola will be in goal, so I think he should play in these last 2 Premier League games. Let's keep him sharp, get him as much game time as possible. I don't think it would be good to not have him play again until the final. For 3 weeks. I think the game time would do him good. So I'd like to see Areola in goal for the next 2 games. But I think for the Leicester game, for me, I think it could be ideal preparation actually for the final because the players are going to need some game time between now and then. So I think for the Leicester game, they'll very likely be relegated by the time we play them. They might already be gone potentially. So if they've got nothing to play for, they're already relegated. I would play our Cup Final 11 against them. I understand what you're saying about a little bit of a risk of injury, but I think if they're already relegated, I think it would be a low intensity game. They wouldn't really care about it because they don't have to. We wouldn't really care about it too much. Yeah. And I think, given that it's 3 weeks to the final, I wouldn't like to see all the players rested in both these games. I wouldn't like to see them go 3 weeks without a game. And given that the Leicester game is a week and a half before the final, I think that would be kind of perfect time to give them the cup final team a run out, keep the sharpness up, and they don't have to go hell for leather, or anything like that. But just get them out on the pitch, keep them nice and sharp. So that's what I'd do. I'd rotate on Sunday and then I'd play the cup final team against Leicester, actually.
For me, I agree, but there's certain players that I look at who are injury prone, i.e. Antonio. I don't think Antonio should be playing until the final, really. I think he should be rested, fully fit, make sure there's no niggles with him at all. Do you know what I mean? There's a 3 weeks rest will do him good. I think if we put him in a game where let's be honest, if it's meaningless and he picks up an injury, then it could kill us in the final. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, Danny Ings has done all right since he's come on. but I don't want him starting. Do you know what I'm saying? And Antonio is the only real outlet that we've got at the club at present who's fit. So I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't. I think you toss up between Aguerd and Zuma. It's like one of them comes out and you put a Bonner in. I think a Bonner's a decent replacement for either of them players. For me, I would take out Zuma to a point. I think Zuma's the more injury prone again. I think the injury prone players, you need to wrap him cotton wool, right, in this one. Do you know what I'm saying? I think Emerson
I'd rest both of them.
Yeah.
Both centre backs against Leeds on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'd play Kerr and Oggy at centre back. Kerr doesn't get injured. He's still relatively young, Kerr, so he can play the games. He'll be fine. I wouldn't be worried.
And we've got a lot of right back cover there. So if he did get injured, we've still got Kufal or Ben Johnson.
Sofal is back, so I'd play Sofal actually on Sunday. I think he needs the game time. If there's a possibility of Sofal playing in the final, then I think obviously he's going to need some game time. He's just back from injury. Play Emerson at left back. Give Cress a rest because Cress isn't getting any younger. So that will have taken a lot out of his older legs, So, but that would still be a nice solid back four, actually, which would still do quite well against Leeds, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%. I think Cresswell. Do you know what? It'd be literally ironic, if Cresswell last season was the one who sort of cost us to a point in the semi-final. If he turns up in the final, he either makes an assist or even scores
a free kick or something.
He scores a free kick or something. Yeah, it just crown off a unreal year sort of thing from semi-finalist to finalist. And do you know what? I'm not his biggest fan, Cresswell, and I think West Ham should have got rid of him basically last summer. But if he does score the goal that ends up getting us the win, then he go from like villain to hero, innit? In the space of 12 months.
That's it. Speaking about heroes, I was talking about it at the top of the show. My boy Pablo.
I know, mate.
What a moment for him. Now, like I said, it wasn't the goal that sent us to the final. We were already there as long as we didn't concede. But wonderful moment for him, and he's kind of Vaz T status now, isn't he? After that,
100%. I've got to be honest. A couple of lads on E20. Lucas is one. West Ham Online's another one. Literally, when that goal went in, I sat there, I just smiled because I knew that them two would be going absolutely berserk. Do you know what I mean? When that goes in, don't get me wrong. You either like Pablo or you don't. I'm a sort of on the fence with him. Like 1 minute he looks like he can be an absolute top class player for West Ham, and another time he looks like a ghost. You just don't ever see him. But when he ran through and he scored, I literally obviously I was celebrating like mad, but I just smiled and all. I just thought, you know what, he sort of redeemed himself for the last few months because he hasn't been good this season. He hasn't had a lot of game time, granted, but when he has had game time, he hasn't really been vintage Pablo Fornells. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, when he scored and the away end went absolutely berserk, it's what we deserved really. Over the two legs, I think we was the better side in that, in both legs really. I just think we give them a sloppy goal, and I think. In Akmar last night, I thought we just didn't do enough to go forward enough. Do you know what I mean? For me, I think we were setting up too defensive. But I can understand it. You keep a clean sheet, you win the game. So, but it worked. So, always got it right last night.
Yeah, it wasn't a great watch. Like you, I think we could. I think we're a much better team than Alkmaar actually.
Yeah.
I think if we had played in either leg, the way we did against Arsenal United, we would have absolutely blown them away. We really would have blown them away. We'd have won it very comfortably. But at the end of the day, all that matters is we're in the final. So as I say, they're there just to be won, and by hook or by crook, and we're in the final. Obviously, we'll face the best team we've played in this competition in the final, but. I wanted Fiorentina. West Ham versus Fiorentina. People can turn their noses up at Conference League as much as they want, but when you look at the three finals, I think Man City against Inter might be the least of the three, because I think the feeling is that that Man City are just going to win it. I don't see any way Inter beat Man City. I'll be honest. I just don't think they're good enough to beat City. I think City are going to win that. I think they're shoo-ins to win the Champions League final.
Yeah.
I think the Conference League final is going to be a cracker. Roma and Sevilla, but also our game is a very credible European final. West Ham, Premier League team, really good side, a lot of international players against Fiorentina, who obviously are one of the group of really well-known Italian sides around the continent. And so I think this is a really credible final. And I think people will be very interested all over Europe to watch all three finals. Anyone who loves their football, it's a European final. And I think we'll all probably watch all three games. I know I will. But especially the Europa and Conference League finals. I think those are games, both of which can really go either way and be really intriguing, and four good sides. So I'm excited, and it just helps to give more credibility to the competition. Roma winning it last year did wonders for it. I think that was brilliant for the Conference League, for a team like Roma to win it. And whether it's ourselves or Fiorentina that wins it this season, it just lends more credibility to the competition.
I agree. Where we are as a club right now, I don't think any fan can moan about the Conference League final. Like, do you know what I mean? Any rival fan, like, I wouldn't care less what they think. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the way I look at it is, Mikel Antonio is 90 minutes away from winning the trophy. Now he'll do more than what Harry Kane's done in his career. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if Mikel Antonio goes and wins a trophy before Harry Kane, then I don't think like anyone can complain. Do you know what I'm saying? For me personally, whatever happens on the 7th, I'm going to be proud of this team, because I've always believed that this team could go to another level, right? To a level where I've always wanted them to be, sort of like fighting there, right? Because West Ham will never be like winning the league. Like, they're just too like far away. I think top 4 could happen, but it would have to be a one-off season, like 1 in 10 or something. Do you know what I'm saying? And West Ham have an amazing sort of time of it. But top 6, top 7 is doable for West Ham. Do you know what I mean? And we are a big side. Do you know what I mean? We have got an amazing fan base. One thing I will say, wherever we go, like, the amount of fans in Amsterdam last night was like unreal. Like, and there was about 6,000 fans there who didn't even have a ticket, and they just went for the sort of like to support the boys, basically. Do you know what I mean? So listen, at the end of the day, right, as fans, we deserve this, because we've been through a lot of heartache with West Ham over the last sort of 25, 30 years. And you know what? I believe they're going to do it. I really do. I called it after the Man United game. I spoke to you and Nick before the game. I turned around and said, I thought if West Ham win that game, West Ham could literally be safe and then concentrate all on the conference. Yeah. I didn't think they would beat Manchester United, and they did. Yeah. And when they did beat Manchester United, I thought, right, it's on there 100%, because West Ham haven't got that worry of like trying to fight for points and worrying about relegation. Like, do you know what I mean? West Ham to go down now, it's like virtually impossible unless there's like a massive like collapse of like loads and loads of goals conceded. So
it was absolutely massive. For Moyes to be able to rest everybody in the Brentford game was huge. I mean, that was huge. I mean, we really, really needed to be able to do that. And had we lost against Man United, he'd have had to put a full-strength team out. And that might have changed a lot. That might have changed things last night. We're in a perfect position now where we don't have to worry about fatigue now whatsoever. Like, the boys will be fresh for the final. Even if he plays the cup final team against Leicester, as I would do, to keep match sharp. After that game, it's still 10 days before they have to play again in the final. They'll be absolutely fine. So that's a massive help. Hopefully, we'll get the point against Leeds on Sunday. I think even with a rotated side, Leeds are pretty shite, frankly. There's a reason they're down there in the relegation zone. So I still think we'll get a point out of it, even if we rotate quite heavily. The thing is, though, obviously, we have to talk about Declan Rice, I guess. We saw what it meant to him last night. The way he came over to the away fans after, singing Bubbles, singing West Ham are massive. It just meant so much to him. And the way he's speaking about the final and about how much it means to have gone through to the final, that he speaks about Bobby Moore. He said, that he wants to be a captain that goes and lifts a cup for West Ham as club captain. It would mean the world to him, and he knows it kind of cements his name in West Ham's history. Something that can never be taken away from him, because he can go to another club and he can win some trophies, but he won't necessarily be a club captain at those clubs, or essentially lead the team to a trophy.
I don't think he'd be loved. I don't think he'd be loved as much either, mate.
The same way, and as well as that, I mean, he won't be the same kind of big fish in a small pond. He'll be just one of the players that won this trophy and that trophy, and it won't mean as much. You know what I mean? It won't have the same feel to it. And I think if he can do this as West Ham captain, he really understands what that would mean for his legacy at West Ham. That would just be huge. And you can see how much he does love the club and how much it does mean to him, how much he loves the fans. And I know we all expect him to leave in the summer, but I'll tell you what, if he goes this summer, I know he'll be glad to be making the move to a major club, and he'll be looking forward to hopefully winning some trophies with them. But I guarantee you, mate, it will be absolutely heart-wrenching for him to leave. It really will.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Do you know what? It will be. Don't get me wrong. I love Dec. One thing with him is he's committed. Like, ever since he's been in the first team, we've seen a drastic change with West Ham. He's a leader amongst men, and he galvanises this team. And he wants to win. He's a winner. If he does go, don't get me wrong, I'm going to be as upset as the next man and woman. Do you know what I mean? I've seen him walking out the door. But do you know what? We can't begrudge him going. Yeah.
Oh, no, I meant for him.
Yeah.
It would be absolutely heart-wrenching for him.
But the way I look at it with him is this. You can go and win trophies, but at West Ham, you could become a legend. Like, trophies are okay in the trophy cabinet, don't get me wrong. But being a legend at a club, I mean, like a proper legend, like Bobby Moore was, Trevor Brooking was, etc. Like, that's very few and far between. Like, if he goes to, just to say, Arsenal, would he be in a legendary status at Arsenal? I don't think he would be, mate. I think at West Ham, if he goes and wins us this trophy, and just for argument's sake, he did decide to stay at West Ham, he becomes a legend at West Ham. Literally a legend. And like, his name, he will have a stand after him, he will have a statue after him, everything. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, I just hope he makes the right move. I hope he just don't go to a club thinking that they're going to be a successful club. If he goes to a Manchester City, then I'll clap him out the door. And I'll say, you know what, you're going to the best manager in the world, best team in the world, some of the best players in the world. And I will appreciate him more doing that. If he goes to Arsenal, I'm not on that one for me.
No, I'm not either, and I know Arsenal are having a very good season domestically, but I honestly think, James, if he goes to Arsenal, he might win very few trophies, like very few.
I agree.
Arsenal aren't necessarily going to push on. They've had a good season, but it doesn't mean they're going to start. I don't think they're going to win the Premier League. I really don't. I think it's going to get harder and harder for Arsenal to compete.
Yeah.
They're having a great season. Newcastle are coming up. If the Qataris buy Man United, they're going to invest massively in that squad at Man United.
Yeah. I agree.
I think they're going to struggle to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
Arsenal obviously are capable of winning a domestic cup. But I don't think Arsenal are going to win a Premier League or a Champions League. I just don't.
No, I absolutely agree, man. I absolutely agree. The Arsenal one sort of grinds me a little bit because the Arsenal fans just do not appreciate Declan Rice. That's the thing. I've seen it on social media. I've seen it on YouTube. I flicked around a couple of the Arsenal sites, and the same old thing keeps coming out about Declan Rice. Like, he's not worth the money that West Ham want. They do not rate him to a point, and I just don't think he'd be appreciated in the same way we appreciate him. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, Dec's been absolutely amazing for us, and what he's done for us and like the team as a whole has been brilliant over the last few years. Obviously, excuse me, Mark Noble's been there, and Mark Noble's guided him. Yeah, and it's been sort of very sort of well nurtured. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think if he goes to Arsenal, I just don't see it, mate. I think if he goes to Manchester City, Liverpool, maybe I could see something there. I think Man United's a no. Well, is not good at the present. Chelsea with Poch, possibly. You could look at it like that and go, you know what, if Poch goes there, they might do something, but he don't win no trophies ever. And then Newcastle, if they start spending money, then maybe. But Newcastle have the opportunity of Champions League. So, you know, it's going to be interesting this summer.
Yeah, I was thinking, if it did, let's say we win the Conference League final, we get a trophy, we're in the Europa League next season, third season in a row in Europe. If it just panned out, for whatever reason, that no club was willing to kind of stump up the kind of money we're looking for Rice, if they all decided it's a bit rich for us and we're just going to go a different direction. If Rice ended up staying at West Ham next season with Europa League football, I don't think he'd be that upset by it.
No. But the only person who subs there is David Sullivan, because he looks at it that the money that we can get for him now, if it's another year down the road, you ain't going to get 92 or 100 million for Declan Rice. You're going to get
I
half of
wouldn't
that.
care.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care if we triggered his clause in his contract.
Yeah.
Is it an extra year or two?
Extra year.
Extra year. I'll tell you what, if we triggered that and we got to have him next season and sold him for 50 million next summer, I'd bite your hand off.
Mm.
I'd bite your hand off to have Rice next season and sell him for 50 million the following summer.
I think what it is, it's for me, you'd have to see what West Ham are prepared to spend this summer. Like if West Ham are only going to spend, say, 80 million, I don't think it's enough. I think West Ham need to spend a bit more than that. Like they need to sort out 2 central defenders, really, or at least one of them. Like because obviously, Opona's getting on, and we've got a lot of right backs who are going in that centre half, which shouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. West Ham do need to sort of freshen it up. There's a lot of players who are coming to the end. Like Lanzini's coming to the end. Cresswell, if you keep him, then great. But is he going to be sort of he should be your third choice, not your second or first. So yeah, it all depends on what the owners of the club are prepared to spend this summer without Declan Rice's money, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, if we had the funds to have another little splurge, then we can keep Dec. But yeah, we'll wait. I think though realistically he's going to move on. But let's hope he moves on. As a captain who lifted a trophy for West Ham, that'd be amazing. But you see the other game last night, Fiorentina turned it round late on.
Yeah, I did, mate. I did. I watched it. I was like, I watched a bit of it before I'd done all my stuff, and you know what? I'm glad it's Fiorentina, like you said earlier. It makes the competition a bit more fierce. Maybe you've got to look at it one way. With Fiorentina, they are going to play a very Italian style of play where they're going to sit there and wait to pounce on us. Do you know what I'm saying? The style of play that we're playing at the minute, it's effective, but I am worried. A lot of people say, it's working. West Ham are sort of grinding these games out. But the problem is, if we go a goal down, then we have got to come forward, and that's where I do worry West Ham. Do you know what I mean? So I think Fiorentina's got a good final. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a good game for us. And I think, obviously, knowing that they're a decent side also, because they're not no much.
I think it'll be cagey. I think both teams will be cagey. Yeah,
and for me, I think it might work in West Ham's favour because they will be wary of us. And I don't think I've ever seen a team, I might be wrong, go into a European competition and not lose a game all the way through it. I don't think anyone's done that. So if we could do that, that's more history, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think actually Alkmaar hadn't lost a game at home in Europe for ages or something.
25 games. Yeah.
25 games and lost at home, but it was nice to put that record to bed, wasn't it? That's the one good thing about that late Pablo goal.
So much, mate.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, really looking forward to the final now, and I guess that's all we're going to be thinking about. But I don't know. I just got a good feeling about it. To be honest, it just feels right it feels like it's our time, you know.
It's the perfect time, mate. It's the perfect time for us, really. Do you know what I'm saying? And do you know what? If worst case scenario we didn't, we can still be proud. Do you know what I'm saying? Because we've got there. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people would have said that West Ham should get to the final this year. Yeah. Now they're there. Like it's starting to become a reality. Do you know what I mean? Like I woke up this morning. Obviously, you flick through like Twitter and everything. Twitter's been mad over the last 24 hours. Literally, people have been so happy, so proud, and so like boisterous with West Ham. Do you know what I mean? Like last night, I done my thing and I was in tears because like I love this club like every other person does. Do you know what I mean? And it'd be nice to see us win something. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's been a long time since we have, and as I said earlier on, I think we deserve it as fans. Like it's been like we've deserved this moment. Let's put it like that. And now it's down to the 11 players on the pitch and the manager to go and grab it. And you know what? I actually think they will, Tommy. I really do. I'm that confident that West Ham will go and do it, especially because like Fiorentina, if I've got this right, they've got a game 3 days before the final. Literally, they're playing 3 days.
They play Inter in the Italian Cup final, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Yeah, so they've got a game literally 3 days before the cup final. So if West Ham play their cards right, and obviously Moyes uses his brain and goes right, I rotate, I'll keep some players fresh, like obviously, and just work it. I think it'd be cagey at the start, and I think Fiorentina might run out of steam in the second half, and West Ham might do a job on them. In my opinion, I really do. I can just see that happening.
Yeah, it's going to be an unbelievable occasion. I mean, it's just being in a European final, something we haven't experienced, you know. And I just imagine on the day, you know, of the final, it's just going to be such a buzz. Prague will just be absolutely swarmed with West Ham fans. You know, it's a pity. I don't know why they put it in that stadium. I mean, it's a pathetic sized stadium. I mean, when you look at, you know, the two fan bases, I mean, we've got a massive fan base, and obviously Fiorentina, you know, a lot of history at that club as well. They've got a big fan base as well in Italy, and you know, this game is worthy of a much bigger stadium.
Yeah, I agree. I really do. Like, whoever's going to get the lucky golden ticket, trust me, they need to get their lucky stars because it's going to be like a once in a lifetime moment. Do you know what I mean? But the problem is, it was set before, like obviously, any ball was kicked in the conference. So for us to get there, but you know what? I'm not really worried about the ticket allocation because I know West Ham will send thousands there, like thousands of people are preparing to go there. Do you know what I'm saying? And one thing with us is you can have 10,000 in the ground, but you're going to have 20,000 outside the ground. Do you know what I mean? Waiting, and watching. So, do you know what? I'm not really worried about that. Obviously, people got to be careful over there because there's a lot of like there's Russians over there, and I'll see something earlier on TalkSport, and it's going to be mayhem over there considering both fan bases are going to come large. Do you know what I mean? With like thousands. So it's got to be well policed. It's got to be well marshalled, especially after last night's antics. I must say.
Yeah, I mean that was insane stuff because I was really confused. I'm watching it on BT Sport, and they're saying, "Oh, it's all kicked off in the crowd and stuff like that," and I'm thinking like our fans are up the top tier up there, like well separated, so they can't be kicking off up there. And then you know they were showing some of the players over there celebrating with the fans. There's literally nothing happening up there. I'm saying, what are you talking about? Fans I can see the fans. There's nothing happening up there. It was only after I realized it was the hospitality section where the players' friends and family were that was being attacked, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, what a fucking cowardly move that is.
It is, mate. I must admit, Flynn Downs he's a boy, mate. Trust me. Like I know someone who's related to Flynn, and the Downs name, you just don't mess with a Downs, mate. Trust me, let's put it like that. They know how to have a punch up. Let's put it like that. And when I see Flynn's name getting mentioned, like I actually didn't see it. I walked out the pub to come home to do my stuff, and I got in, and someone said, "James, it's all kicked off in there." And I'm thinking, like you. I said, "Well, where has it all kicked off? It's all like the West Ham fans are caged in, right? There's no way they can be doing anything." And then when I see it and I see Fleet getting involved, I thought, here we go. That's proper. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it wasn't
Obviously,
as well. I mean, him and Paqueta and Benny were
yeah,
steaming in as well, and it was just
unreal, mate.
crazy scenes, absolutely crazy scenes. But
Yeah.
and our boy was up the top of the steps. You see him just banging some heads together and like defending the stairs. And those Alkmaar fans didn't want to know, did they, with him? And there was loads of them there, and he was just at the top of the stairs, just fucking giving it loads and like protecting.
Do you know what? It's in that situation. It's like fight or flight. And do you know what? Fair play to the geezer, mate. He had he was like a machine. Tell you how I can put it.
He's an ICF old boy.
Yeah, right. So he was like, he stood there, and do you know what? He like in that situation when you got them all coming up the stairs. Obviously, the higher ground that does help because they've got to come up rather than you come down. But yeah, fair play to him. He should never have to buy a drink, a ticket, food, anything again at West Ham. Especially like because not being funny, if he's not there, or if he would have like they would have stopped him from with the higher ground, they would have pulled him down towards them lot. It could have been chaos in there. There would have been women getting hurt. There could have been like people getting hurt, and it could have turned very bad very quick. And it wasn't just him. There was two stairwells, and there was the other lads on the other stairwell who was doing the same thing. And do you know what? Fair play to him, mate. Fair play to him. Like, do you know what I mean? He pushed them all back. Two men pushed like 100 back. So yeah, fair play.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look for the Alkmaar ultras, was it? It'll take a while to live that one down. Fucking one ICF old boy, old man fucking up there just knocking them about and pushing them back. But fair play to him, he was sitting behind Tilo Kera's girlfriend.
Yeah.
So he'd been kind of chatting with her and stuff, and he literally was just like, his thought was just immediate was just to put his body on the line to protect people, and put himself on the top of the steps. So as you say, man, if I meet him, I'm gonna fucking buy him a drink. I tell you.
I'll tell you what, it's one of them ones, isn't it? Like in that situation, women and children, you just do the right thing. Like it doesn't matter if you get a clump or not. It's just like you're prepared to sort of fight to the end, basically. Do you know what I mean? And then not only that, he probably didn't just do it for them. He done it for himself and all. Because obviously, like when you see the army of fans that they had, like or ultras trying to get up the stairs, you're thinking, right, you're gonna have to do something. Because if you don't, like we're gonna get mullered here. So, like, do you know what? Fair play to him, mate. He should never have to buy a drink ever again in his life.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Horrible scenes, obviously. You don't want players to get involved with that shit, but they all come out of it fine, and unbelievable scenes in the dressing room. But do you know what? I spoke about it at the top of the show a bit. Look, everybody knows. Look, I'm Moyes out, regardless of what happens in the final. I'd like to see him replaced in the summer. But if he goes and wins this thing, then fucking fair play. I mean, we've been craving a cup for a very long time, and if he goes and win this thing, we're going to have to put some respect on his name. Like, even if we don't like the style of play, I didn't particularly like the way we approached either leg against Alkmaar. I didn't think we had to be that defensive, but it's a means to an end. And if he wins it, then I think it would be, for me, it would be just the perfect time for him to ride off into the sunset, really. And he'll have kind of really restored his name with what he's done at West Ham. When you think he's had a 6th and 7th place finish, a semi-final in the Europa League, then winning the conference, which obviously gets us back into Europe for a 3rd season in succession. I know a certain amount of fans will probably flip the other way again and say, "Oh, go on then." But the problem for me is I just don't like the style of play whatsoever.
I agree.
He said it on BT. He actually said it on BT Sport last night that he tried to play a more kind of possession-based style of football this season. It didn't work out, so we had to revert to type, had to revert back to what was working previously. So he said that himself on BT after the game last night, and I just don't want to have to watch another season of this, to be completely honest. And as well as we've done to get to the conference final, ultimately, the competition we've faced up to this point has not been particularly great. Let's be honest. It is definitely, when you think about the teams we played and the games we played in the Europa League last season, the likes of Sevilla, Lyon, Frankfurt. I mean, this is, you can really feel it this season. The conference is definitely another step down from that.
Do you know what it is, though, Tommy? Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Listen, I agree with you slightly with what you're saying. Yeah, I've been with that in that boat and Moyes out for a long time. The only thing is with West Ham, when people say about the conference, the competition, I've seen West Ham get beat by Wimbledon. I've seen West Ham get hammered by Oxford. I've seen us get beat at Wigan away. I've seen us get beaten by lower end teams, and let's be honest, and we've been crap. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I agree. Some of the teams that we've faced this year have been not on our level at all. Yeah, and I think if he does win the conference, he's going to have to give some credit. Do you know what I'm saying? People are going to have to go. Yes, people are going to have to say it through gritted teeth. Like, people can knock him for his style of play. I agree, 100%. I'm not on this sort of allowing another team 68% possession, and we're just sitting there waiting to sort of pounce. Basically, do you know what I mean? I'm not on that vibe. The only thing I will say is, I don't think he's going to go anywhere, and I don't think West Ham have got the. How could you really sack a manager who's give us a trophy? That's the argument that I keep hearing. I hear it quite a lot. Like I use one of the boys on E20 as an example. West Ham Online. He's backed the man up for a long time. He said to me, if he wins the trophy, how can we go and sack him? This is it. And I can understand what he's saying. And as a young fan, I can hear what he's saying, because he's saying basically, in 43 years, we haven't won nothing. We haven't looked like winning anything. And then we've got a manager who goes and wins or something, and the fans want him out because the style of play doesn't match what they expect. Now, I can get that. I can get what he's saying, but then on my side of it, the style of play is just not.
It's not just that, though. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't overlook the fact we've been horrible in the Premier League all season.
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah,
horrible.
I agree.
There's times we've
100%.
been 19th in the table. It's fucking
Yeah.
joke. We should be nowhere near the relegation zone. So again, I don't want a Europa League win to paper over those cracks, because it doesn't make that. And like, if we're going to keep him on next season, he'll be in the final year of his contract. I mean, if he wins a trophy, if you're David Sullivan and David Moyes wins a trophy for you, so you say to him, right, you've won us a trophy, so obviously we're going to keep you on. You're going to be a manager next season. Next thing out of David Moyes' mouth is going to be contract extension. I don't want to be going into next season with 1 year left of my contract. I want an extension. So he'll get a 1 or 2 year extension. So now he's on a 2 or 3 year contract.
Yeah.
And if next season's going badly, it's in the Premier League. I mean, do you just say, right, we'll put up with it because we have Europa League football? I just don't want to have another domestic season like that.
See, the thing is, Tommy, and I do hear what you're saying, because I am slightly with you on it. But the problem is, there's two things that I keep hearing quite a lot. The first thing is, you take him out, you put a manager in. What is the expectations of that season, really? Now, for me, when I look at this season, my attitude was a top 12 finish. Yeah, this was my attitude this season. Top 12 finish, because I didn't think we'd finish in the top 10. Really, if I'm being honest, I just didn't see it. Thursday, Sunday, I just couldn't see it. So I just said top 12 and the cup, the conference. I believe that from the start, I said we should be at least in the semi-final of this competition. And now we're in the final of it. That was my expectations. Like, next season, if you take Moyes out and you bring a new manager in, what is the expectations for that manager? Like, what has he got to do to make the fan base happy who want Moyes out? And don't get me wrong, I'm very much Moyes out. I'm with you, but I just don't see how we can go and take him out if he's just bought us a trophy. If he loses in the final, then I think it is the right thing to do. If he wins in the final, I don't think you can sack him. Really, I'm being honest. I think it's that black and white, in my opinion.
Yeah, my other worry is, obviously, as we expect Declan Rice will go, we probably will get very big money for him. Yeah. I don't particularly want David Moyes having another 200 million spent. I don't want to give him another 200 million to spend.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. I mean, look at the Scamacca situation. The amount of money that Scamacca deal is going to cost us is unbelievable. You've brought in Areola. Apart from the transfer fee and the agent's fee, he's on massive wages, and he's only played in the European games. They haven't even played in the Premier League.
He ain't done bad in European games, though. So I mean, he's got to a semi-final and a final. So
No, but Areola, is another player.
Yeah.
Essentially, was a backup keeper on 125k a week or whatever it is. It's, brings in Danny Ings in the summer, 15 million, 125k a week, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he's completely unsuited to what we're doing. It looks like a complete waste of a hell of a lot of money. And I don't want Moyes being given 200 million quid again this summer. I really worry about how much of that is going to get pissed up against the wall.
I think it's a fear. Don't get me wrong. It is. Yeah. And listen, I agree. I've been Moyes out since Leicester, right? Leicester at the just before the World Cup, and I look at him now and I think he's had a lot of shit this year, Moyes. Don't get me wrong, and he's deserved some of it. Yeah. Now, when the banners come out at Fulham and people were saying Moyes out, then the heat started to sort of top up a bit. But then he won that game. And as I've said to you, and we've done shows on here, I've done shows on E20. He always seems to get it won when he's on the brink. When he's on the brink, he always finds a way of getting that one win just to save his bacon, sort of thing. I think next season, if we get Europa League football, I think there's a different style, like different players that we could attract, obviously, in European football. But it's a tricky one. I think it's very, very black and white for me. I think if he wins it, he's here. I think 75% of the fan base will accept it because he's won us a trophy, and they will go, you know what, it is what it is. We'll keep him here for another year. Well, as long as he doesn't get us relegated, that's fine because he's brought us a trophy for the last 43 years. But if he loses it, then I think people have got the right to say, you know what, it's time for a change.
Yeah. Whoever that is at Clarent Booze, I don't know if it's Nick or John or Gary or whoever it is. Let me know if you want to jump on. I can pop the link for you. You can jump on if you want to give your views on it. Like the commenter there that I put up, I can't watch another season in the Premier League of the way we've played this season, the way he sets up tactically, and so I just can't watch it anymore. I think.
Don't get me wrong. I hear you, Tommy. Yeah, I do. But if someone said to you right now, a crystal ball, and turned around and said to you, West Ham next season will finish 13th in the league. It won't be a pretty season, but it'll be 13th. But you're going to get to the semi-final of the Europa League or the final of the Europa League. Would you accept that? For me, I would, because let's be honest. At present, West Ham are nowhere near the top 7. And there's nowhere near it. We're not going to blast our way into that. And I think if we do, we're going to have to work on that for a long time. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, this season's been bad, but out of something bad, something good could come out of this. Like, do you know what I mean? He could recover the situation, win us a cup, 43 years. I get that, but I do think, as I keep saying, I think it's very black and white. I think if he wins it, then I think he has to stay here. Like, even though I don't like it, I'm not a fan of it, but I've got to accept it. I can't sit there and rant and rave about it and say, oh, I want him out, because he's just won us a trophy in 43 years. And do you know what? I've never seen that in my lifetime, so I can't begrudge the geezer staying here another year. I really can't. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
There's something clicking sound. Have you got a mic rubbing off something or hitting off something or anything like that?
How's that?
Yeah, it's just when you're talking, there's a weird. I don't know what the sound is. Can you hear it? No.
Yeah. Nah, I'm good, mate. Nothing. Let me try something. How's that?
Yeah, I can still hear it. I don't know what it is. It's a weird sound. Yeah, Cyber Leader. I just threw the link. If you scroll back up a bit, I threw the link on. If you want, click on the link. Join us. Yeah, have your say. Absolutely. Nick, if you see it as well, can't sign for it. Yeah, fair enough, Nick. No worries. You're probably fed up with talking about these things anyway. But yeah, I just I wouldn't give him money to spend again. I wouldn't tolerate another season of this kind of football. I just, like I said, I think there's a lot of managers that could have got us to the Conference League final. I do think Cyber is on, just on audio, I think, so I'll just add him onto the stream. Evening, Cyber. How are you doing, mate?
You alright, guys? How you been? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Well, I'll just spend like 5 minutes. I'm saying, I know we've got Florentina, but I'm saying, I've said this in the chat, but would anyone start Scamacca if he's fit?
Not at this point.
No, I mean not at this point. If he's
No.
Yeah, go on, speak. Go on.
So yeah, I don't think you can just chuck him in to the final at this point. I think Antonio's playing really well. He's match fit. He's match sharp. So I don't think with the length of injury Scamacca's had that you could just chuck him into the final. I don't think he'd be ready for it. No, look, if he's fit, he's the kind of player I'd rather have on the bench than Ings, for example. I think he'd be more effective, say, coming on for the last 15 minutes than Ings would be, because of the style of play that we play. Particularly, I think if we really needed a goal, because he is a really good finisher. But I don't think there's any way that Scamacca realistically could start the final. And Moyes obviously certainly wouldn't do it.
But would you put him on the substitutes bench? Like, if we went to like extra time or something, or the dying seconds, because I know he's Italian and he'll probably know their tricks and stuff.
Yeah, I think he'd certainly be worth having on the bench, and even if it came down to the game going into extra time, if it was getting close to looking like it might be pens, you bring him on the second half of extra time, knowing that he's a very good penalty taker, Scamacca, a very good striker of a ball. He'd almost be, as much as you can guarantee someone will probably beg you a goal in a penalty shootout, Scamacca, you would feel would very likely score in a shootout. So I think he'd certainly be very useful to have on the bench.
Yeah, one thing I'm concerned about is, I know we got Florentina, but we're going to have to face, is it that Milinkovic guy? The one we was after a couple of seasons ago?
Yeah, I mean, look, they have got some good players. Obviously, they're a good side. They've made the final as well. I mean, that was a difficult job for them last night. They obviously had a poor result at home, losing 2-1 to Basel. Basel are a very experienced European side.
That's what.
So, for them to go away to Basel in that second leg 2-1 down and to turn it round, shows they've got a lot of fight. It shows they've got quality. So yeah, they're definitely. Look, I'll be honest with you. My knowledge of Fiorentina is very limited. I think between now and the final, obviously, I'm going to take a much deeper dive into Fiorentina, their players, the way they play the game. So I'll know hopefully a lot more about them.
One thing that scares me is
at the moment, my
Gonzalez,
Jovic is in there, and he was
obviously. Is it a bat? Is it Arabat or
we were linked to Amrabat for he had a brilliant World Cup. I mean, he was amazing at the World Cup.
And Aguerd will know him 100%. The Moroccan side.
I know one thing? Sorry about that. Quick. The thing that scares me is Gonzalez. The Argentinian in the midfield. That's the one that. Because I was watching him yesterday on my phone while watching our game, and literally the goals he scored, literally, if he does that against us, we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, well, like I say, we've got 3 weeks now for Moyes to do his homework on Fiorentina. I'm sure he'll look at plenty of footage. He'll probably speak to some people over in Italy who know a lot about them and how they play, whose teams have faced them in Italy, in Serie A. So, we'll know what's coming. We'll know what to expect. But don't forget, we've actually got a very, very strong midfield. You know, we're going
Yeah,
to have Declan Rice and Lucas Paqueta in there in that midfield as well, and they'll have plenty to worry about as well. And so, you know, that if it comes down to a midfield battle, you know, we've got the players. You know, we've got, you know, England's number 4, you know, Brazil's number 8, you know, so, you know, we're pretty well set in midfield. And we saw, you know, what Paqueta and Rice did to Arsenal's midfield, you know, Xhaka and Partey, and we absolutely destroyed them in that game. So as long as we turn up and perform,
yeah.
I think nobody in this competition that will beat us on our day. If we show
And
up, we put in a performance like we did against Man United or Arsenal, Fiorentina will not beat us.
yeah, it's like as you said about the Italian. Will Scott. You know, Ogbonna. I think he's Italian. I'm not sure, but yeah, he's
Yeah.
playing Italian soon. So he'll probably know their weakness link or something. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Yeah, look, we'll have our homework done. Moyes will decide what tactics he wants to use for that. It'll probably be much the same as Alkmaar. I expect he'll probably allow them to have the possession. You know, use a low block, and try and hit them on the counter. Obviously,
Yeah.
things will change if we go behind. Actually, funnily enough, it sounds kind of, in one way, it might be no harm if we went 1-0 down in the first half, because recently, really, when we've played our best stuff and we've been our most kind of bossy in games, is when we've actually had to come from behind and dig out a result. I mean, we went 2-0 down in 10 minutes to Arsenal, and you thought, oh Christ, we're going to get an absolute thumping here. And
Yeah,
then
that's like
off the
yeah, that's
shackles,
like yeah,
and
go
we
on.
dominated Arsenal for the rest of the game. So you just never know in football. You know, even if we go behind, as long as it's not late in the game, even if we go behind, I won't be panicky about it, because we've seen that the team are capable of responding to those situations.
Quick question, Tommy. Are you going to be there in the fan zone on if they show at the London Stadium outside?
No, I won't be. I've just got too much going on with work. So I think actually on the day of the final, I'll be officially working, I think, till 8 o'clock. So, but usually I can get away a bit early. So I'm hoping I'll be finished by 7:30, basically, and racing home in time for the fucking kickoff. So that's going to be my life on the day of the final. I'm going to be in a panic at work all day, praying I don't go all the way to my 8 o'clock finish, to be honest with you.
Yeah. All right, man. Listen, it's been great having you on. I'll come on next week or something.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to jump on, just say so in the comments, and I'll chuck you the link anytime, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Take care, Simon.
That's right. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks for that, Cyber. He's always in the chat. He's here every week. Fair play to him. But yeah, I think expecting the same thing against Fiorentina. I think, aren't we, James? Really, that we're going to let them have the ball, let them have the position, sit quite deep, stay solid, and just see if we can hit them on the counter.
There's a few players that West Ham have actually been linked with, like 3 players. There's obviously the Milenkovic, who was like, that was a few years ago. That was when he was actually in Canary Wharf, and then they pulled the plug on the deal in the last sort of minute. Obviously, Arabat, however you pronounce his name, the Moroccan. That's going to be interesting, because obviously him against Gued, they're both going to know each other very, very well. And is it Cabral? Is it who's up front? Yeah. Arthur Cabral. He was from Basel. We was linked with him all summer. I think it was last summer. I think it was, and he was getting linked, and then eventually he made the move to Fiorentina. So, do you know what? It's going to be a good game. The only fear I do have with the Italians is they know how to grind out a nice little 1-0 win, and that's the thing. And I would like to see West Ham on the front foot in this one. I think if West Ham score first, then they will have to come forward, Fiorentina, and I think that would suit us better than us sitting there playing possum. Do you know what I mean? I do agree with you. I must admit, one thing I do agree with you on 1,000% is the style of play. The style of play has definitely got to change. Whether it is with Moyes next year or it's with someone else, it has to change. Like, because it's not sustainable enough for me. It's too you've got to react to it rather than we're not proactive. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? And for me, I do agree with you on that 100%. But do you know what? I'm quietly confident, mate. I really am.
Yeah, me too. Just the worry I have is that, the way we played against Alkmaar, we were able to keep them out relatively comfortably. They didn't threaten us too much. I just think Fiorentina are going to have a bit more about them in that final third than Alkmaar, and the worry is that they will find a way through if we keep inviting them on.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. One thing I don't want to see happen is West Ham go 1-0 down, because then it could work. Like, I understand what you're saying about recently we've done well against teams coming back, but this is a final, and
they're Italian,
and they know the Italian way is to set up defensively strong and nick the game. You very rarely see
an Italian team can hang on to a 1-0 lead for 85 minutes.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. So, I don't know. I think it's our time, mate. I know I keep saying it, but it feels like it's on its way. Do you know what I mean? And I called it on E20. I said it after the Manchester United game. I told everyone on E20 that get on West Ham to win the trophy at 7-4. I said it's literally. I said I believe it's going to happen. And do you know what? I really do, mate. I really do. I think it's going to come back, and there's going to be a parade. 100%.
Yeah, but look, it's great times. It's going to be a really brilliant 3 weeks for us all. And, at the end of the day, look, congratulations to David Moyes and the players and his staff, for getting to a European final. We can all really go and enjoy these next 3 weeks. And, if we go and win it, it's just going to be an amazing, amazing feeling to finally have got that monkey off our back, because every season, we get knocked out the cups. We think, oh Christ, no, it's another year we haven't led on, but we haven't won anything. And if we can put that to bed and reset the clock, that would be absolutely amazing. So fingers crossed we can do it. But as for last night, congratulations to all involved. Great to be in the final. And here's hoping we can go one more step now and win it. Listen, James, I'm going to pop off now, mate. So really appreciate you joining me.
No worries.
To have someone else to have opinions, get their opinions, and hopefully we'll see you on here again sometime soon. Really appreciate you coming on, mate. Cheers for that.
No worries at all, mate. Anytime.
Also, as always, thanks to everybody in the chat for coming and joining. Always appreciate you being here. Hopefully you can join me again soon. And until then,